This end-time event is happening right now, but people don't see it. We can see end-time prophecies being fulfilled all around us, but people are not paying attention. The four horsemen described in the book of Revelation 6 are beginning to somewhat show signs of their work. You only need to look at the last 5 years of the world, and you can see signs of their arrival, signs of their effect upon the earth. The book of Revelations opens you up to the future. No other book comes under more scrutiny than the book of Revelation. No other book in the Bible is contested quite like the book of Revelation. And there are churches that actively avoid the book of Revelation. Churches that actively attempt to discredit the book of Revelation. That alone should tell you something about the book of Revelation. I believe the reason the book of Revelation is contested is because of two reasons. Reason number one being, the book of Revelation reveals Jesus Christ in a way no other book in the Bible reveals Jesus Christ. It reveals him as he is today, not as a baby in a manger, but it reveals him as the living one. It reveals him as the Almighty. The book of Revelation exalts the Son of the living God like no other book in the Bible. If you want to know the Lord Jesus Christ to a greater degree, go to the book of Revelation. The second reason is because it reveals the future and the things to come. I believe wholeheartedly that the book of Revelation is unfolding before our eyes. We are living in just a preamble to the real event. What we are observing now is an introduction to what is yet to come. John saw a revelation of 7 seals that were being opened in heaven. Our particular interest is to beam a searchlight on the event that followed after the opening of the 3rd seal and find out its significance. More so, we must get prepared. The last days is no longer a future. It is now. Revelation 6, chapter 5 through 6. And when he had opened the 3rd seal, I heard the 3rd beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Immediately the 3rd seal was opened, and John was directed to observe another horse, which was different from the former. The horse that John saw was a black horse, signifying famine, a terrible judgment of God which will come upon the world in the last days, and especially during the Great Tribulation. The one who sat on the horse had a pair of balances in his hands. The black horse represents famine, and its rider had a pair of balances, suggesting that a time is coming when the people of the earth must eat their bread by measures, not out of being conservative, but for the sake of abject shortage of food. A great number of Bible scholars believe that Revelation chapter 6, verses 5 through 6 is referring to inflation. Inflation is the decline of purchasing power of a given currency over time. A quantitative estimate of the rate at which the decline in purchasing power occurs can be reflected in the increase of an average price level of a basket of selected goods and services in an economy over some period of time. The phrase, "a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny," reflect the inflationary rise indicated in this Bible verse. The prices detailed in this verse are about 12 times higher than normal. This means that it would cost a day's wage to buy the ingredients for a loaf of bread. This describes, quote, "a time of famine when life will be reduced to the barest necessities." The phrase, quote, "see thou hurt not the oil and the wine," refers to the fact that less crucial supplies are available to those who can purchase them. In other words, the luxuries of life will be available for those who can purchase them. Currently, we are all aware that the value of our money is depreciating and becoming of lesser value than it used to be. The average U.S. rent price rose 14% last year to $1,877 a month, with cities like Austin, New York, and Miami notching increases of as much as 40%, according to real estate firm Redfin. Now we are buying lesser quantities of products for a higher price. Some producers are shrinking the weights and volumes of their products in order to keep with the existing price system, while some only raise the price of their products intermittently. However, we cannot shy away from the fact that we currently live in a very inflated society. According to a research carried out by the Pew Research Center in November 2021, the annual rate of inflation in the United States hit 6.2% in October 2021, the highest in more than 3 decades, as measured by the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. An attempted explanation for the current increasing inflation rate was observed to include disruptions in the global supply chains amid 2020 and 2021 and turmoil in the labor markets. The Pew Research Center found that the U.S. rate of inflation was running higher than it has at any time since the end of the Cold War, and decided to compare the U.S. experience to those of other countries, especially its counterparts in the developed world. Economic data from 46 nations were analyzed, and the results showed that the third quarter of 2021 inflation rate was higher in 39 of those nations than in the third quarter of 2019. In 16 of the countries considered, including the U.S., the inflation rate was over 2 percentage points higher last quarter than in the same period of 2019. Furthermore, the research found that the level of inflation in each country showed the same pattern of variation. We can see this prophetic event happening and the rider with a black horse slowly arriving onto the world stage. But I want to encourage you today. Do not be disheartened. Do not live in fear. You need to remember this, although you are living in an ever-changing world, a world that is dealing with inflation, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is bigger than inflation. You don't have to stay up at night worried and concerned about the future. This world will do that to you. This world will make you stress and worry and stress some more and add a little anxiety on top of all that stress and worry. You have a God who is still in control. God is watching over you. In all my years, I have never seen a Christian that God has abandoned. God is watching over you. The rate of inflation going up should not surprise us. I believe what we are seeing is only the tip of the iceberg. The black rider will eventually come with all his force. But as a child of God, you don't have to live in fear. Now I want to read you a chapter in the book of Psalms. It is arguably one of the most known chapters in the Bible, but I want to read it for you like you have never heard it read before. Notice the change in Psalm 23. David goes from talking about God in the third person to talking to God directly. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still water. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Now here in verse 4, the change from he to thou. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. My brother, my sister, God is with you. Never forget that. I will fear no evil. I will not fear the future. I will not fear the present. I will not fear the economy. I will not fear policy change, for thou art with me. Matthew chapter 10, verses 29 through 31. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. If God cares for the sparrows and numbers the very hairs of our head, then He will also pay careful attention to our needs. God cares about you so much, He will not abandon you. Regardless of what the government does in whatever country you live in, hold onto Matthew chapter 10, verses 29 through 31, and Psalm 23. God is with you. If you are a single man or a single woman, God is with you. If you are a single mother and feel like you are alone, you are not alone. God is with you, and He will not abandon you. God is watching over your family. This world will not last for all of eternity. The stresses and concerns of this world are only for a moment. But in heaven, you will spend all eternity with God. Topics like this make me long and look forward to heaven.